tonight, the assassination of US political commentator Charlie Kirk has exposed the insane hypocrisy of the left. You know, the so-called tolerant left, the same left who always warn about the far right, the same left who always warn about the right being so divisive and full of hate. And for what? For holding mainstream views that were once never actually even considered to be controversial, like pointing out that basic biology means there are only two genders, or that women's spaces should be protected from men, or how about that mass migration is a problem, or for pointing out that importing some people from countries whose values do not align with Western democracies is also a problem. Now, these are not far-right views. They are views that you at home share. But these are views the left want silenced. And they are the same views held by Charlie Kirk, who has paid the ultimate price for daring to challenge the nut jobs. The left doesn't want a debate. They aren't tolerant at all. It's all BS. More than 24 hours after his death, we now know more about the suspect after, of course, the 31-year-old was killed by a single bullet to the neck while speaking at the Utah Valley University.
This is the rooftop where the assassin fired the fatal bullet. And there he is, running from left to the right of frame. He's just fired the shot that killed Charlie Kirk, and this is his getaway. He runs to the back of the building and jumps down to the ground. Then he runs towards a nearby road and on into woodland beyond. It is video released by the FBI along with a new set of images. This is the person of interest they want to trace.
Now, the FBI is yet to name the suspect. They have confirmed, though, that they are pursuing the death penalty. But Charlie Kirk was a man ahead of his time, warning about issues that are having a huge impact on the West, including right now in Australia.
The spiritual battle is coming to the West, and the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low-crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school.
Now, there's certainly nothing far right about that. But of course, we live in a world of a captured media and political sphere where debate is shut down. And it's about time for the left to wake up, get off their high horses and moral superiority complexes in thinking that their opinion is not the only one that counts. Charlie Kirk's murder isn't just an assault on democracy or on free speech. It's an attack on the right to have a different opinion. The UK's Channel 4 today even described Charlie Kirk as a far-right influencer.
Today, America commemorates the tragedy and the terror that was 9/11. But after the fatal shooting of Trump friend and far-right-wing super influencer Charlie Kirk, what haunts America is domestic terror and spiralling political violence.
What an absolute load of nonsense. And this is the exact problem. Just because someone holds right-wing views does not make them far-right. What a disgrace to his memory. What an insult to a man who was murdered in cold blood in the most horrific of circumstances for the world to see, including his wife and 2 children. Charlie Kirk was a Christian. He held traditional Christian values. And now suddenly being a Christian is a problem. Being a Christian is controversial. And of course, we are not immune. We saw this in our own country only a few weeks ago, when tens of thousands took to the streets for the Marches of Australia, and I know many of you at home attended. You are worried about mass migration when we can't get everyday Aussies into housing. You are worried about the types of people we're bringing into this country, some whose values do not align with ours and some who don't want to assimilate. And because a group of neo-Nazis rocked up who were booed by crowds because they were unwanted, the political class labelled those who attended the rally racist.
In the tone, of course, of much of the rallies was unfortunate is the best way that you could put it, but hateful in some of the extreme examples.
Marine Faruqi will speak more about the racist overtones of these rallies.
The anti-immigrant rallies on the weekend must be called out for what they are: acts of racist fear-mongering and hate.
I haven't seen a good fascist yet.
We absolutely condemn the March for Australia rally that's going on today. It is not about increasing social harmony.
Right, so everyday mums and dads, everyday Aussies, all tarnished with the same brush. And it's the same brush Charlie Kirk was tarnished with. Even after his death, this commentator in the UK today likened him to the leader of the Ku Klux Klan.
I don't agree he was a Cicero for the TikTok age. I believe he was a David Duke for the TikTok age. And I have some degree...
Can you just remind us who David Duke
was?
is?
The former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
So because you share a view that mass migration is a problem and that some cultures do not align with ours, then suddenly you're a Nazi? And as I said earlier, the tolerant left, it's all BS. They resort to hideous violence like what we saw yesterday. And why? Because their arguments never stack up.
What is a woman?
What is it? That's a stupid question, dude. That's a dumb question.
What is a woman? It's not a trick question. What is a woman?
Who identifies as a woman?
You can't answer the question with the question. Yeah, define the woman without saying woman.
It's a social role.
You're in college, paying for an education. What is a woman?
How about you talk to someone with media training? How about you talk to someone
You don't need media training. It's not a trick.
Well, yeah,
what is a woman?
I mean, they're obsessed, aren't they, with playing the victim and are constantly tying themselves in knots of hypocrisy. You remember in 2022, a minute's silence was held in US Congress after the death of George Floyd. Democrats like House Speaker Nancy Pelosi kneeled on a marble floor for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in his memory.
We will now kneel for our moment of silence.
Yet yesterday, the Democrats refused a minute's silence for Charlie Kirk. And in the EU Parliament, they too wanted a pause, but the left said no.
Madam President, dear colleagues, the murder of political activist Charlie Kirk, a husband, loving father and patriot, has shocked the world. We must strongly condemn political violence and rhetoric that incites violence. Please stand with me in reflection and prayer in his honor, and I yield the rest of my time for a moment of silence.
Herr Kollege Weimers, wir haben abgesprochen und Sie wissen, dass die Präsidentin...
Well, we have discussed this, and you know that the President said no to 8 minutes of silence.
Yep, they can't hate Conservative voices enough. Not even for one day can they put their political views aside. Yet can you imagine what would have happened if this was a left-wing influencer? These people are truly sick. Charlie Kirk once said the greatest threat to freedom is when people are too afraid to speak their minds. And he's not wrong. Now, I think his death will only embolden those with conservative views to speak up. We should never be afraid. We need more speech. We don't need silence. Because in the end, evil never wins. Charlie Kirk was a father of 2 young children and a husband. Today, his wife, Erica Kirk, clutched the hand of Vice President J.D. Vance's wife, Usher, as her husband's body returned to Arizona. And Phoenix Air Traffic Control sent this message upon landing.
Clear 126, Southwest 56 bound. Welcome home, Charlie. You didn't deserve it. May God bless your family.
The world has lost a great man. And I'll end on this quote. If you leave your children a world where you never stood up, they'll inherit one where they can't.